Alrighty, it's still April 21st. And here's where this being able to walk out into the sacrifice paddock comes in real handy. So we're going to talk paddocks now. We do rotational paddock because the pigs really want grass. They want grass, they want dirt. These are foraging pigs. And so we have the west paddock, which is the biggest one. And let's see, maybe if I get over here you can see that better. That's where the girls were throughout their pregnancies. And you can see what they do. Also happens to be the dead lawnmower cemetery over there. Pigs don't bother with the lawnmowers. They're not into mowing the grass, they want to dig it up. So that's the west paddock. That's where they were when they were pregnant. Came out of it in February, and it's already growing back. They don't do enough damage that the grass doesn't grow back. However, I did buy some winter rye and winter peas this morning at my feed store. And then you come through and we've got, my husband's got a funny fence across there, but this fencing area here prevents them from going into the west paddock from their sacrifice paddock. And there's the sacrifice paddock, which looks like this all through the rainy season. It's just a mess. There's no time for it to recover, but they have to have access to get into their coop if they want to. This is where I feed them. In the sacrifice paddock is where I feed them. So then we've got the east paddocks. There's two on this side. They're a little bit smaller. That one that hopefully you could see right there is the one they're in now. And there's a gate over there that my husband can just move the electric fence over a little bit and they can walk through there. And then that is the southwest paddock over there, and you can see the grass is growing back quite nicely. They haven't been over there in 6 months, 8 months maybe. Hi babies, how's everybody doing? Yeah, how's everybody doing? I'm gonna go around here, back through the coop, and go to the east side. And hopefully you can see a little bit better over here. So, again, there's the continuation of the sacrifice paddock. And that will never recover. And that's why it's called the sacrifice paddock. So here we have the northeast paddock. And we use electric fence. That's my husband's problem. I'm afraid of electricity. This is what they've been in since February. And they're bringing the babies in here. Or Louise is bringing the babies in here. Hi, Louise. No, I didn't bring you any food, sorry. That happens to be a little area that we planted trees in quite a few years ago that we have surrounded by electric fence because they will knock those trees down and eat them. So there is that. And everybody's waiting to see, is she going to feed us? No. And then, I'm not going to walk all the way around, but you can see the southwest paddock from here. And that's where we will move the pig to when the 7 piglets that are going to new homes leave. They'll be over there. And you can see the grass has just grown back really nicely. I threw some winter rye over there. I don't know, maybe in September. Threw some winter rye. But even without throwing seed down it, the grasses that just naturally live there, they come back. So those are our paddocks. We use 2 different kinds of insulators for the fence. And that one, these guys have the screw-on backs, and those seem to be the easiest for me to install and for my husband to move. Because when the piglets are small, I'll show you how to get down on my knees. When the piglets are small, that lower wire has to be pretty low because they can walk right under it. Yeah, they've done that a couple of times. But they come when I call them. It's not a big deal. So, and then we use the welded wire on the outside of it. And it's just like our insurance that they're not going to come out. This little area right here, this little wooded in area is, I don't know what you call it. It's a little enclosure when we have the man come to slaughter the pig and take it to the butcher. We put the pig in here, and he just backs his truck up to here and does his business and takes the pig away. It takes him about 25 minutes to do one pig. They're here for about 25 minutes to do one pig. And they're very humane, and they're I'm really impressed with how good a job they do. I would recommend them to anyone. Yeah, I see you babies out there. So there's our fencing. Yeah, I'll walk real quick over here. I've got a piece of scrap fencing. Let's see. You can see what kind we use. We use, here's one of the insulators. We use several different kinds of insulators, and that's what happens is you try a few different ones and you figure out which one works best for you. And then we have two different size fencing and my beverage. Two different size. I think this is the one that my husband likes the best. But you can buy that at any farm store. Pigs need 10,000 volts. And actually, this particular breed of pigs doesn't need 10,000 volts. Once they understand white rope means you get a zap. And the only place they really get zapped is their nose. So they have to be able to touch that with their snout to understand it's not nice. And I got the not nice once and fell right on my buttocks. So I can understand why the pigs let out a little screech if they do get zapped. The baby pigs are getting trained to it. Well, I'm going to say they're trained to the electric fence because they have figured out they touch their nose on that and it hurts. But I will also say that the electric fence has not been on most of the time since our boar left. Our boar knew how to test it. He knew how to move the insulators. He knew how to short it out. He was a Dickens. But the girls don't test the fence. And the piglets, I'm only hearing somebody get zapped, every 3 or 4 days maybe. I hear one of those piglets squeak. Once they figure out it's electric, they generally don't test it. I think the boar did because we had to separate him from the females in order to be in charge of Planned Parenthood. And so out of frustration to get with his ladies, yeah, he could get through that fence. And I've heard people say, pig owners say, oh yeah, that boar, risk versus reward, I'll take the risk. And they'll just back up and run through it. So boars can be an obstacle if you're breeding pigs. So that's that. That's that. There's another view. I wish I knew how big this was, but I don't. I can tell you it's about 300 feet long from the edge of that west paddock to the edge of the east paddock, but that's all I can tell you. It must be, I don't know, it's got to be at least 75 feet in most spaces, I suppose, from here to the edge of that fence. Yeah, I suppose. Okay, so there's the paddock and that situation.